Hello friends, welcome back to the video lecture series on Python programming. This is Amit Kumar Das and I am a senior research scientist in the data science lab, A.K. Chaudhary School of IT, University of Calcutta. So in the last video lecture, we got a brief introduction to the Python programming. So as I promised in the last lecture, uh, I'm going to start now on a very important topic, the Python data types, right? But before I start with the topic, I just wanted to point out to one small error which was committed in the last video lecture. In the last video lecture, I mentioned that latest version of Python is 3.7. Actually, the latest version as it stands now is 3.8.5. So just wanted to correct that mistake in the last lecture. So let's now move on with the Python data types. So when we talk about the Python data types, Python has basically 5 types of data or 5 object types. And there is one more additional object type which we're going to cover soon. So the 5 standard object types are string, numbers, list, tuple, and dictionary. So these are the 5 types of data or five types of object which are there in Python. Out of that, I'm sure string and numbers you are quite familiar with. We will discuss about list, tuple, and dictionary in this course. Okay, we'll also talk about string and numbers. Now, what's a string? We all know, right? I mean, it's basically nothing but a sequence of characters, right? That's a string. Even in C or C++, we have that. We call it a char star or a char array. So we have that. So sequence of characters is known as a string. Numbers, again, are very trivial. Integer or decimal, which we call float. Then we have long, we have the complex numbers. So all those kind of different numbers are grouped under the number data type. Next is list. List is nothing but a ordered sequence of objects. Okay. So for example, if I want to stack up a different values together in a sequence, right? And the different data types of these elements may be different. I mean, they need not be same, right? So in that case, list is a very important and critical data type that we can use. And Python programming has a support for list. Like that, we have some other data type called tuple, which is very much like list, which is also a ordered sequence of objects. Only difference is it is immutable, or in other words, you cannot change the value of any element of a tuple. And then you have the dictionary data type, which is basically an unordered key value pair of objects. So you have a key and a value for each of the elements, right? So these are the basic 5 data types or object types in Python. Along with that, there is one more object type which is also very predominantly used, and it's a inbuilt data type in Python. That is the file data type, right? So these are the overall data types that are there in Python. Let's now first move to most simple data type, which is the string. As we talked about, it's basically a contiguous set or a sequence of characters represented in quotation marks, within quotation marks. And this quotation marks, it can either be a single quote or it can be a double quote, right? So both are actually allowed. Okay. Now, if you want to derive a subset of strings, again, we will see more about it a little later. We can access those elements or rather specific characters in the sequence by using the parentheses, the square brackets, right? And then we can mention the index value. So if I just give the string variable name along with the particular sequence value for which we are trying to get the character value for, we can do that. And the last value we always retrieve by using a -1. So first value we can retrieve using 0, and the last value we can retrieve by -1. We'll look into it in details, right? The plus sign is used for string concatenation. What we mean by concatenation? If we have two strings, string 1 and string 2, we can just get them together, right? We can append them together. That is the concatenation. So that can be used, that can be done using the concatenation operator, which is the plus operator. And if you want to repeat a particular string for multiple times, we can use the asterisk, that operator, right? That will repeat the strings. Next, just a few examples of standard strings. So you can, as I mentioned, you can either mention a particular string within double quotes, where you have the double quotes here, or you can also give it within the single quotes. Sorry, we give it within the single quotes. Again, another very much acceptable syntax is if you give a single quote within the double quotes, or you can give a double quote within the single quote. So if you want to have a quoted string within the overall string, that you can do either by putting in a single quote within two double quotes, or a double quote, set of double quotes between two single quotes. Both are accepted. Okay. Now let's look at, as we already talked about, how can we access the different characters, or if you want to say, for example, if you want to extract a portion of the string, how can we do that? So for that, it is very important to understand the arrangement of the strings, or other characters of the string in the whole data, the whole data, right? So if I have, say for example, a whole data, Python's programs, that is the whole string, right? Now if you can look at the different characters, so Python space programs, right? Python programs. If you just try to associate an index value to each of these characters, the first element will have an index value 0. The second element will have an index value 1. Like this, you will have 2, 3, and so on. It will continue 4, 5, 6, and so on. That's one way. You can access it from the beginning of the string, character by character. Other way is if you want to access it from the end of the string, then -1 is the last value, right? I mean the index value of the last character. So you can start from -1, then you can go to -2, which is the second last element, then you can go to the -3, which is the third last element, and so on and so forth, right? So that is how you can access specific characters. Either you can access a specific character, or you can access a range of characters by using the index values, right? And this is how the index value is structured. Now say for example, I have a string variable. So this is a variable, right? So I just, in Python, that's one good thing to know. In Python, you don't have to declare the data type beforehand. Like in C or C++, you have to say like int var1 or char var2, like that, right? So, but in Python, you don't have to name that. Okay, you don't have to mention specifically the data type. The data type of the variable gets set based on what value is being assigned to it. So if a string is assigned to a particular variable, if you just try to check the type of the variable, so type, this inbuilt function type is used for looking at the data type of a particular variable. So if you just investigate the data type of str color, you will see that it is coming as str, which is string, right? So anyways, now say for example, I save a variable with a value light blue, right? So if I just access the second row, so 1 means basically second, a second position, sorry, not the second row, I'm talking about the second index or the second position. So what is the second position? Y, right? Oh, sorry, light. So it is I. So I is going to come here, right? Next, if I want to access a particular range of values, so 0 colon 4. So it will start from the first index and it will go for 4 characters, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So LIGH. Just remember, when I say this 0 colon 4, I don't mean that it will start from the index 0 and go to the index 4. I mean that it will start from the index 0 and it will access 4 elements from the sequence. Correct? So this is the next thing. Next, I say want to give a lower bound but no upper bound. So I want to start at a particular position at a particular index value and go to the end of the string. So I give a 5 and then colon and then nothing, right? So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it will start from the space and then the blue whole thing will come. So space and then blue. The whole thing is retrieved. Okay. So this is how we access a string. Next, as I told, asterisk is used for the repetition. So if I want to repeat these strings twice, right? So light blue comes once and again you get a light blue, right? So this is how I am repeating. So if I want to give it give a 3, it will be repeated thrice, light blue, light blue, light blue, right? Next, how you can concatenate, you can use the plus operator. So a light blue and then I give a space short. If I want to print it, what I will see is light blue short. Okay, and I think there is a small mistake here. This 1 should not be here, because if I give a 1, it will just return the second index element. So it will just return the I. So I think that is not correct. So this should be just the print and then the str color. So I will get the light blue shirt, right? So this is how we can get the different elements or different characters of a string. Now, say for example, the way I was trying to concatenate two particular strings here, like str color and then short. Same way, if I want to come up with another string where I want to mention this 3. So 3 light blue shirts, I want to write it here. So if I just write 3 plus str color plus shirt, it should ideally work, right? But it gives a type error. Why? Because this 3 is of type int and str color as well as short, these are of type string. So there is a type mismatch. So that's why it throws a type error, right? So how do I address it? There are two ways. Either the concatenation is done implicitly. When I print it, I just mention the 3 different portions of the string as 3 arguments of the print statement. So that is one way, which is a very simple way to do it. The other way is I just do a conversion of the integer 5, right, to a string, right? So how? By using the inbuilt function str. This does a type conversion. So 5 light blue shirts, right? This is how I can concatenate the string variables. Now, there are a couple of things that I wanted to touch upon. Say, for example, if I want to write a particular sentence, right? And within the sentence, as I mentioned earlier also, I want to include either single quote or double quote. How can I do that? So one option, as I have already mentioned, I can give 2 single quotes, and within that I can include a set of double quotes. But if I want to give 2 double quotes and within that I may give another 2 double quotes, this is a illegal operation. I cannot do it in a way like this. Same way, if I want to give two double quotes on both sides, and I want to include, two single quotes on both sides, and I want to include single quote within the text which is given, then I cannot do it like this. If I do like this, I will get a error, right? So how do I handle this? Either I will have to give two double quotes and include the single quote in between. So that is one possible way, as we already discussed. The other one, which is very important, is by using a escape sequence. So escape sequence is a very important concept which is required when doing Python programming to simplify the syntax. How do we do this? So there are few escape sequences. Say for example, for the quotation, I can just give a backslash and then give the double quote. Like the same thing, I can give a backslash before the double quote, and then again when I include another double quote, I give a backslash. This way I tell the interpreter that, okay, fine, don't use these double quotes as like a one for denoting the string start or end, right? It is used as a specific character which comes in the string. So use it like that only. Same way for single quotes also, I can use the escape character and use the single quote. So this is one thing which is used. Other than that, the very standard escape characters are the tab characters, /t, \t. So if you give a \t inside a particular text, you will have a tab shift, right? Same way, I can use the new line. This /n indicates a new line. So if I give this, what will happen is now this is will come in one line, and then a legal string will come in the next line, right? So this is for the new line, and double backslash is when you want to give a backslash as one of the characters, right? So you use a backslash character. Okay. Now this is one small exercise that I want all of you to try. Okay, you have to print this particular statement. A quoted string is the new line. Much better if you learn new line, the rules of escape sequences. So there is a double quote, there is a set of single quotes, there is again a set of double quotes, and again in the second sentence also you have a set of double quotes, then you have a, so this is how you can represent the string, right? So this double quotes you can represent either as this thing, you can give a escape sequence and do it, and for the new line you can either add multiple print statements, or what you can do is you can include a new line character within the text itself. So you are effectively, so both these solutions, this is a little lengthier solution where you are using multiple print statements, one print statement for each of the new line characters, and this one is a little optimized solution where you have a /n character for each of the new lines, but both are acceptable solutions. So I would request you to try these things on your own, and if you are not able to do it, you will anyways have the solution here, right? So with this, I would pause on a bit, because that's all I had to cover about the string data type. I will come back with the next portion of this video for the number data types. Okay, so please stay tuned.